One of the biggest gripes most Steven Universe fans have with the show is the fact it is filled with so much padding in episodes that really don't have an immediate progression onto the plot. These episodes are typically referred to as filler. While I for one side with the Crewniverse and the notion that there are no filler episodes, every episode has a purpose towards character development or the narrative. For the sake of this video, I am gonna simplify it and just say it's filler. And I have good news for fans out there. If you're waiting for season 5 to go off the rails, the time has finally come. By the time you're done watching this, you will be pumped, as there's reason to believe we will no longer have filler in the remainder of Steven Universe Season 5. Let's talk about it today on Crystal Clear. Welcome back to Crystal Clear on the Roundtable. I'm AwestruckVox, and we all know how repetitive Steven Universe can be. For something dubbed as such a great show, with an enthralling story, fleshed out characters, and so much intrigue around its lore, it's no secret our expectations are higher than they should be. On one hand, fool me once, shame on you, fool me twice, shame on me, but on the other hand, how can you blame us? The show packs all these Easter eggs, these hints, and when they do want to be ambitious, they are. The problem is, what if you enjoy them or not? They do dedicate a lot of episodes towards Steven's human life in Beach City, and it makes sense. Steven is half human, half gem, both sides matter, and by season 4's end, both of these lives began to intersect. Yet I think the bigger problem is, fans wouldn't mind all the Beach City episodes if they didn't interrupt such major story arcs. At the same time, the events in the show are spaced out in such a way where towny episodes can occur. Blue Diamond wants more humans for the zoo. Logically, after a few episodes of winding down from new crystal gems and Storm in the room, you think Topaz and Aquamarine would have come to Earth immediately, scooping up humans left and right. But because the concept of time differs between gems and humans, as gems have existed for thousands of years, it's not exactly a plot hole that they could fit 5 more episodes of just towny shenanigans in. And while I thought season 4 was the biggest offender, the overarching story of the season not even beginning until halfway through, with the episode Steven's Dream, in my opinion, season 5, which is supposed to be the show's biggest season yet, has become the biggest offender for inappropriately placed towny episodes, for padding it out a bit too much. Or in this case, definitely padding it out at the wrong time. Case in point, the transition between the episodes Your Mother and Mine and The Big Show. Now both are fine episodes on their own, but the segue between them is what had me go, really? This is what you're doing? Allow me to explain. Fans who have watched the most recent episodes have noticed a strong disconnect. The premise of Your Mother and Mine was Steven bringing Garnet to the off-colors so they have something to do while the Sun Incinerator's power is out. By the episode's end, they managed to turn the ship back on, but it's in need of repairs. And the resources for those repairs are going to come from one of Yellow Diamond's asteroid mines. The off-colors are going to embark on this mission. And by the way it's set up, Steven and Garnet are going to be on this mission too. Lars has his dramatic posing, the music picks up, everything just feels so triumphant, full of hype. Garnet and Steven assisting Lars and the off-colors on a mission, seeing Yellow Diamond's colony, and interacting with new gems, agates. Finally, this is the kind of stuff we've been waiting for. And the episode ends with them taking off to the colony. And then when you turn on The Big Show, the next episode of the series, oh, no, wait, what? Why are we back in Beach City? What? It's just another Beach City episode. And while we shouldn't penalize this episode and its contents for being just another towny episode, the fact we had a cliffhanger ending to hook us on to make it seem like we're going into an arc, only to subvert us and go straight to what Sadie and her band is up to, is misleading. The bad kind of misleading. It's almost a slap in the face. And guess what? We do get to see a little bit of this mission in the episode Letters to Lars, but it's at a slow, boring part. They're just floating through the asteroid mines. Why would you set up that Steven and Garnet are going on this grand mission, all of these exciting things, and then go, you know, actually, let's not show that, let's show these? What kind of sense does that make? It would have been better if Steven and Garnet were like, alright, we're gonna go back home through Lars's head. Something alluding to the fact that they're not going to tag along. I guess the crew thought this was better for reasons, but narratively, it is really jarring. Now, to say these episodes don't serve a purpose in the overall story, I believe would be incorrect. There are things I picked up in every single episode of the season thus far that I see coming into play one reason or another. Yes, even in The Big Show, but that's a separate topic for another time. As of Letters to Lars, we are now 16 episodes deep into season 5, and not factoring any half-hour specials, as they constitute as one episode and not two, unless it's something more like Steven Universe Stranded, where Lars, the Stars, and Yoga Moon air together, produced released as separate episodes have different title cards, then the half-hour episodes take away one episode slot each season. But let's say we have 10 episodes left. We know the next 2 are airing as a special in May, one likely dealing with Lapis Lazuli, as the barn has been spotted on the moon, and the other one, going from the recap promo, will finally begin to delve into Rose and Pearl's origins. After that, there's only 8 episodes. So what if I told you these remaining 8 to 10 episodes are very likely to be nothing but plot, that Steven Universe is just done with filler for the rest of season 5? It's more likely than you think. Remember when I said this season is going to be massive? I've used this quote before, but Rebecca Sugar said, "Endgame or not, I'm writing this into a corner." Well, this isn't a corner you could just achieve with 3 or 4 episodes. You need a lot of episodes to properly flesh everything out. Considering how this season started and recent developments such as Emerald or Steven's Pink Diamond Fever Dream, to have all those come together, intersect, and come into play, you cannot do that in just a handful of episodes. Luckily, if you look at previous seasons, by this point, more than likely, their arcs have already begun. Typically within Steven Universe, the last 5 to 9 episodes are an entire arc used to round out the season. Although season 2 and 3 are kind of weird, as the closer arc itself isn't resolved by the end of season 2. But I digress. By the end of season 1, the last 4 episodes, The Message, Political Power, The Return, and Jailbreak all told a complete story. But considering this is the first time the Crigerverse has ever done an arc like this, they were still trying to figure everything out. But then you go to season 2, where the last 9 episodes were all plot-driven episodes. The only exception really being Steven's birthday. But even then, they were at the barn and it was still exploring Steven's aging abilities. And hell, if it wasn't for the season split, the arc would have gone on for 5 more episodes. So before you get too skeptical, we've had 14 episodes of straight plot before. Don't count anything out yet. Now with the end of season 3, the final 8 episodes were the Jasper arc. From Gem Hunt to Bubbled, those episodes told a complete story, continuing one after another. And hell, Alone at Sea and Monster Reunion planted the seeds for these events. Now let's jump to season 4, where things get a little bit tricky. You can really consider the last 4 episodes as an arc: Dugout, The Good Lars, Are You My Dad, and I Am My Mom. But the problem is, line 4 is roped into this arc. Despite not really having any correlation with what's going on, it really just comes into play at the end of I Am My Mom, the whole spiel about Steven's magical destiny and just living his own life. But if you're going by that logic, Ruby and Ruby should count in this arc too, as I definitely believe Navy jacking her ship and going back to Homeworld is what triggered Topaz and Aquamarine coming at this time. So while it's more 4 solid episodes, I want to say the end of this arc is 6 loose episodes. But you guys get the idea. They do dedicate a good chunk of consecutive episodes at the end of each season to dedicate enough time to fully realize their vision. And we have no reason to doubt that season 5 will be the exact same way. I definitely believe Letters to Lars was the last filler episode of the season, and from now on will be on a lot more focused narrative. Not to mention, Letters to Lars, even if it was consistently about Dewey, was more or less 4 or 5 episodes condensed into one. Ronaldo's Crisis is about Lars being in space. That would have been its own episode, and was dangerously close to when I pitched. Call me Sapphire, cause I got future vision. We got another look at Sadie Killer and the Suspects, another look at Beach City Underground Wrestling, and what's definitely the most important, a meeting between Nanafwow, the Pizza Family, Ronaldo, and the Gems, planning on what to do in case of another Homeworld attack. That's huge. That's huge right there. And again, I definitely feel like all of these could have been their own episodes, but the Crigerverse decided, no, let's just touch on all these points so we can progress with the story. So aside from Sadie's upcoming gig in Beach City, which I believe will kick off the beginning of the season's end, the Beach City episodes just don't have a role to fill. Now the only one-off silly episode that I can see happening is Ruby and Sapphire's wedding, prognosticated by the keychains. If that is an actual episode that happens this season, oh, you know I'm hyped. But that would probably detract from the plot, unless it's just like the beginning of an episode. But knowing the Crigerverse, that's going to be an entire episode on its own. But I do hope you guys are a little bit more optimistic and a little bit more excited after this episode. Again, looking at the track record, we're no longer going to play around. The rest of the season is going to be straight action, plot point after plot point, I hope. And keep in mind, Cartoon Network's press release said that there would be 3 new new arcs this year, the first of which beginning in April. Now, I know these episodes weren't really an arc, but they did have continuity, even if it was loose at times. And they said beginning in April, now that the arc in its entirety would take place in April. So there's still the May special to give us hope, and I can't see the other two arcs being dubbed as arcs without a consistent narrative focus. In the event that I'm wrong, I don't even know how I would respond, but let's keep our hopes up because I do have faith in the Creativerse to deliver on this one, especially because they wanted that season renewal. Season 5 is not the end, which means they had to go over the top to make a good impression. But this is where I turn the conversation to you guys. What do you think? Are you excited at the idea that we'll have no more Beach City one-off plot episodes for the rest of the season? Please let us know what you think, and within the next few Crystal Clears, either the very next one or the one after that, I'll definitely explore what plot points were set up and how the end of the season may very likely play out. Leave your thoughts in the comments below or tweet your thoughts directly to me at AwestruckVox or at the Roundtable on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram, all at Roundtable Vids. If you want to help us grow, become a member on the Roundtable on Patreon. Get access to so many perks and have your name featured at the end of the video like all these beautiful, wonderful people. Link in the description. If you enjoyed this video, be sure to like, share, and if you're new here, subscribe. Hit that bell for notifications, stay in the loop of all things Steven. Thank you for watching, and I hope you have an awesome day. AwestruckVox out.